Jake, welcome to Relax Learning English Lesson. Hey there, everyone. My name is Jake, and I'm so excited to have you here with me today. I'm an English teacher, but more importantly, I'm here to be your friend and guide on your journey to improving your English. Whether you're just starting or already have some experience, this is the perfect place to grow your skills while having fun. Let me tell you something. If you stay with me until the very end of this video, I promise you'll learn some super useful new words, understand how to use them in your daily conversations, and maybe even pick up a few tips to sound more natural. So stick around. It'll be worth it. I guarantee it. All right, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into today's lesson. 1. Maths. Maths, short for mathematics, is a subject we all know and love, or sometimes dread. For example, I was never very good at maths in school, but I've learned to appreciate it over time. Maths includes everything from simple addition and subtraction to complex topics like algebra or geometry. One funny story, when I was 12, I accidentally solved a math problem that even my teacher couldn't figure out. Turns out, it was pure luck. Have you ever had a moment like that? Distance. Distance refers to how far one thing is from another. For instance, the distance between my house and the supermarket is about 2 kilometers. It can also be used metaphorically. After the argument, I felt like there was a distance between us. Personally, I think physical distance can sometimes bring people closer emotionally. For example, my best friend lives in another country, but we've never been closer. How about you? Do you have someone far away who feels close at heart? A link is something that connects two things. In a sentence, click the link in the description to watch the playlist. It can also refer to a connection between ideas. There's a strong link between exercise and mental health. Speaking of links, have you ever been stuck clicking random links online and realized hours have passed? Yeah, same here. 4. Research. Research is about digging deep to find information. For example, I'm doing research on climate change for my project. I remember doing some serious research before buying my first car. I must have read 100 reviews. It's all about finding the facts before making decisions. Number 5. Herself. Herself is used to emphasize her. For example, she cleaned the house all by herself. It's also great for stories. She told herself she could do it, and she did. Self-confidence is such a powerful thing, don't you think? A wife is a married woman. For instance, my wife and I love hiking together. A funny story, one of my friends got married and didn't realize his wife had secretly planned their honeymoon as a surprise. Have you ever been surprised like that? And 7. Career. Career means your professional journey. For example, she's building a successful career in marketing. Careers aren't always a straight path. I once thought I'd be a musician, but here I am teaching English, and I love it. What's your dream career? Interested. Interested means you want to learn or know more about something. For example, I'm really interested in photography. One tip: when you're interested in something, it's much easier to learn. That's why I try to make these lessons as interesting as possible for you. A tip can be advice. Here's a tip: always carry an umbrella in London. It can also mean a small amount of money you give for service. I left a good tip for the waiter. Here's my favorite tip for learning English: practice a little every day. It works wonders. Enough means as much as needed. For example, do you have enough water for the hike? Fun fact, when I first moved to a new city, I was worried I didn't have enough money to survive. Turns out, budgeting was the key. Twice means 2 times. For example, I've been to Paris twice and I can't wait to go again. It's a simple word, but so useful. Have you ever watched a movie twice because you loved it so much? A hole is an empty space, often in the ground. For instance, I almost tripped over a hole in the sidewalk. Holes can also be metaphorical. There's a hole in my heart since my dog passed away. Sometimes filling a hole takes time, but that's okay. Pretend means to act like something is true when it's not. For example, the kids pretended to be pirates during the game. When I was little, I used to pretend I was a famous actor. Now, I just pretend I know what I'm doing most of the time. 14. Fire. Fire has 2 main meanings. The first is the natural element that burns. The fire in the fireplace kept us warm during winter. The second meaning is to dismiss someone from a job. They fired him because he was always late. Once during a camping trip, I accidentally started a fire while cooking marshmallows. Don't worry, it was a small one. Uniform. Uniform refers to the special clothes people wear for school, work, or organizations. For example, police officers wear a uniform to be easily recognized. I remember my first job required a uniform, and I hated it because it was so uncomfortable. What's your favorite or least favorite uniform you've seen? Enhance means to improve or make something better. For instance, this app enhances your photos with cool filters. I always say practicing English daily enhances your fluency over time. What's one skill you're trying to enhance right now? 17th, notion. A notion is an idea, belief, or opinion. For example, I had a notion that learning English would be hard, but it turned out to be fun. Sometimes our notions are completely different from reality. Have you ever had a funny or unexpected notion about something? Transport. Transport means moving people or goods from one place to another. For example, the bus is a common form of public transport. It can also be used as a verb. The goods were transported by ship. One time I got lost while using public transport in a foreign country. That was an adventure. 19, toilet. Toilet can mean the actual fixture or the room it's in. For example, the toilet is in the next room. Here's a funny cultural tip. In some places, people call it a restroom or a bathroom, even if there's no bath. Always good to know. Justify. Justify means to explain or prove something is right. For instance, she tried to justify why she was late, but her boss didn't believe her. One time I tried to justify eating a whole cake by myself by saying, "It's my cheat day." Do you ever try to justify your little indulgences? Or is used to give choices. For example, do you want tea or coffee? It's one of the simplest but most important words in English. Life is full of or moments like, should I stay home or go out tonight? What's the last big choice you had to make? Disease. Disease means an illness that affects people, animals, or plants. For example, heart disease is common in older adults. It's a serious word but important to know. Thankfully, modern medicine has helped us fight many diseases. Stay healthy, everyone. Transition. Transition means a change from one state or condition to another. For instance, the transition from summer to fall is my favorite time of year. I remember the transition from high school to college. It was both exciting and a little scary. How about you? Have you been through a big transition lately? Read means to look at and understand written words. For example, I read a book every month. It can also mean to guess or interpret. Can you read my mind? Reading is such a powerful way to improve your English skills. What's the last thing you read? Call has several meanings. It can mean to contact someone by phone. I'll call you later. It can also mean to name something. They called the new puppy Max. And in sports, it can mean a decision by a referee. That was a bad call. Have you ever had an awkward phone call? I have plenty of stories about that. Over means above or across. The plane flew over the city. It can also mean finished. The game is over. I remember feeling over the moon, which means very happy, when I passed my first English exam. What makes you feel over the moon? 27th, iron. Iron has two main meanings. First, it's a strong metal. The bridge was made of iron. Second, it's a tool you use to press clothes. I need to iron my shirt before the meeting. Funny story, I once ironed a shirt while wearing it because I was late for a wedding. Let's just say, don't try that at home. Or 28th. Skin is the outer layer of your body. For example, she has sensitive skin, so she uses special lotion. It can also mean the outer covering of fruits or vegetables. Peel the skin off the apple before eating. I once tried a skincare routine, and now I'm hooked. What's your secret to healthy skin? 29. Luxury. Luxury means something expensive and comfortable. For instance, staying in a 5-star hotel is a luxury. It's also used metaphorically. Having free time feels like a luxury these days. When I was a kid, my idea of luxury was eating pizza on a weekday. What's your definition of luxury? Wool. Wool is the soft material from sheep used to make clothes. For example, this sweater is made of wool. One winter, I wore a wool scarf my grandma knitted for me. It was so warm and cozy. Have you ever worn something handmade? Loud means making a lot of noise. For example, the music was too loud at the party. I once went to a concert, and it was so loud I couldn't hear properly for a day. Do you prefer loud environments or quiet ones? Shout. Shout means to yell or speak loudly. For instance, he shouted for help when he saw the fire. It can also be used positively. She shouted with joy when she won the prize. I'll never forget the time I shouted so loud at a football game that I lost my voice for 2 days. What's the loudest you've ever shouted? Knowledge means the information or skills you gain through experience or learning. For example, reading books helps you gain knowledge. I believe the more we learn, the more we grow. What's one area of knowledge you'd love to improve? Notice. Notice can mean to see or become aware of something. For example, I noticed you've been working hard lately. Great job. It can also be a noun. Did you see the notice about the meeting? I once walked into a glass door because I didn't notice it was there. Have you ever had a moment like that? Factor. A factor is something that influences a result. For instance, hard work is a key factor in success. I've found that staying consistent is the biggest factor in learning English. What's the most important factor for you when it comes to achieving your goals? D36. Probably means something is likely to happen. For example, it's cloudy, so it's probably going to rain. I probably spend too much time watching funny videos online. What's something you probably do too much? R37. Educate. Educate means to teach or learn. For example, schools are designed to educate children. My goal is to educate and inspire you to love English. Fun fact, I once tried to educate my friend about grammar, but we ended up laughing about all the mistakes we made. 38. Bother means to annoy or cause trouble. For instance, loud noises really bother me when I'm trying to work. It can also mean to make an effort. Don't bother bringing snacks. I've already got some. I once didn't bother checking my phone before a flight and ended up at the wrong gate. Lesson learned. A poem is a piece of writing that expresses emotions in a creative way. For example, she wrote a beautiful poem about love. I once tried writing a poem for a school project, but it ended up being so bad that my teacher laughed. Do you enjoy reading or writing poems? 40th. Dismiss means to allow someone to leave or to reject an idea. For example, the teacher dismissed the students after the class. Or, she dismissed the idea because it wasn't practical. I once had an idea for a business that was so crazy my friend dismissed it immediately. Turns out he was right. A statue is a large sculpture of a person, animal, or object. For example, the Statue of Liberty is a famous landmark in the USA. I remember seeing a giant statue in a park during a trip, and it was so detailed it looked almost alive. Have you ever visited a famous statue? 42. Invent. Invent means to create something new. For instance, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. I used to try inventing new games when I was a kid, but they were so confusing that no one wanted to play. Have you ever tried inventing something? 43. Shooting. Shooting can mean firing a gun or capturing a video or photo. For example, they were shooting a movie in the city center. Or, shooting stars are a beautiful sight in the night sky. I remember watching a meteor shower once. It felt magical. Have you ever seen a shooting star? Lose means to misplace something or fail to why. For instance, I always lose my keys. Or, our team didn't lose the game, we tied. Fun fact, I once lost my phone at the beach and found it hours later buried in the sand. Have you ever lost something important? Teaching. Teaching is the act of helping others learn. For example, teaching English is a rewarding experience. I've found that teaching isn't just about giving information. It's about inspiring others. What's the most valuable lesson someone has taught you? Must is used to show necessity or strong recommendation. For example, you must wear a helmet when riding a bike. Or, this is a must-see movie. I always tell my students, you must practice speaking to improve your English. What's one thing you think everyone must try at least once? Carry means to hold or transport something. For instance, he carried the groceries to the car. Or, this song carries a deep emotional meaning. Once I had to carry a huge box up 5 flights of stairs because the elevator wasn't working. That was a workout. Counter 48th. Job. A job is work that someone does to earn money. For example, her job is to manage the office. It can also mean a specific task. You did a great job fixing the car. I've had all sorts of jobs, from waiting tables to teaching. What was your first job? 49. Wide means having a large distance from side to side. For instance, the river is very wide here. It can also mean something broad in scope. She has a wide range of interests. I once tried to jump across a wide stream but fell right in. What's the widest place you've ever seen? Hooker 50th. Traffic refers to vehicles moving on roads. For example, there was a lot of traffic on my way to work. It can also mean the flow of data online. The website gets a lot of traffic every day. I remember being stuck in traffic for hours once. Thankfully, I had snacks. How do you pass the time in traffic? Jake, and that's it for today's lesson. Remember, this is just the beginning. If you want to learn even more commonly used words in English, check out the playlist in the description. There's so much to explore. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And here's a question for you. What's one new word you learned today? And how will you use it in a sentence? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for spending time with me today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.